All right, so next up we have our fifth demo. I love the demos because they're so practical, but the fifth demo of the afternoon, which is being presented by Ryan Conway of Oxygen. Please help me welcome Ryan to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Great. My name is Ryan Conway. I head up business development at Oxygen. We are a new digital banking platform for the gig and freelance economy. So I want to start off by talking a little bit about the changing workforce. Last year, over $1.4 trillion in earnings were made by folks in either a gig or freelance capacity. That's almost 60 million folks working in this space, representing over 35% of the US workforce. And that number is expected to increase to a majority by 2027, according to research done by Morgan Stanley. So in short, we now live in the gig economy. And sure, there are certain advantages there, certain flexibilities. There are certain challenges that we have to recognize, specifically when it comes to financial services, which I want to talk to you about a little bit today. So I'm going to start with a modern banking story, freelance edition. And here we have our hero, Hussein, who's a happy freelancer guy. But let's take a little bit closer look at Hussein as a bank might. Hussein has a 780 FICO score. He's got a PhD in computer science from Virginia Tech. He's got an MBA degree from University of California, Berkeley. And for the last 2 years, he's been working as a consultant very successfully and getting jobs right and left. He's looking to get a new car, so as many folks might do, he's going to go down to his local bank, and he meets Joe there. He says, hi, Joe, or hi, Hussein, nice to meet you. My name is Joe. I'm the GM here of the bank. What can I help you with? Hi, Joe, I'm Hussein. I've actually been banking here for the last 10 years, but nice to meet you as well. What I'm looking to do is upgrade my car. Nothing fancy, but as a freelance consultant, I drive around a lot and put a lot of miles, so it's just time. OK, Hussein, well, let's take a look. I see you've got your paperwork here. Why don't we step over to my office and see what we can do for you? So they go there, and about 5 minutes later, Joe furrows his brow a little bit and says, you know, Hussein, I'd really like to help you out, but your income the last couple of years has just been up and down. I don't know if I can help you. Hussein, somewhat taken aback, says, I don't understand. I've got a 780 FICO score. I've been banking with you for the last 10 years. I make a 6-figure income. How can I not be creditworthy? I'd really love to help you out, Hussein, but I just don't think we can do anything for you today. And as anyone who's gone through this similar circumstance, Hussein, the happy freelancer guy, turns into Hussein, the sad freelancer guy. But he doesn't stay there very long. He says, there's got to be something else out there for me. He takes a look at payday loans, and those are crazy usurious and expensive, so he says no to those. And then he looks at some of the alternative lending platforms. And after getting no after no, he gets pretty stressed out. It seems there's a lot of platforms out there that want to lend to small businesses, but they're really focused at the top end of the segment, businesses making over $250,000 or more. And this makes Hussein pretty stressed out. And then ultimately, he gets a little bit angry. But if any of you folks know Hussein, he doesn't stay angry for long because he's a naturally gregarious guy. But more importantly, he sees an opportunity. So he goes out and he starts talking to friends of friends and freelancers and people that he's met along the way. And he asks them one question. Have you ever had the similar challenges as me with my financial institution? And to a person, every single one of them answered yes. Take, for example, Jonathan here, who's a freelancer. And he almost defaulted on a mortgage one time because of a simple 7-day pay gap. He had money coming in, but as you know, these folks are net 30, net 60, net 90. And so he, like Hussein, went to his traditional bank, asked them for a loan to see if they could help out, a bank that he had been banking with his entire life. And like Hussein, they told him no, and that he should probably go see a payday lender, which unfortunately for him, he didn't have a lot of time, and that's what he did. So I asked the room here, what is the common thread? Well, very simply, freelancers need a bank that understands them, that they're not in a traditional job as we might define by our parent standards, that they have variable income, and that legacy banking is just not working for them. Now, we're seeing some of the largest platforms actually start to address this. You may have seen just a few weeks ago that Uber announced Uber Money, which is giving banking and digital banking and debit credit services to their drivers on a global basis. We think that this is awesome. We think that this is real innovation in the space. But what if you don't work for Uber? What if you work for one of the competitors? What if you're one of these freelancers that goes through a lot of these marketplace platforms to get a job? Are they going to create the financial services that Uber's done? Do they even have the core competency to do so? I think the definitive answer to that is no, which is why I'm excited to introduce you today to Oxygen, the first digital banking platform for the gig and freelance economy. We're backed by Y Combinator and other fintech investors, and we build a native digital experience that has freelance management tools to understand the inflows and the outflows of your funds, other types of value-added services. For example, you can create an LLC right within the application, as well as mobile receipt capture, and importantly, a fair line of credit for these folks that need it so badly. So you can see a little bit about who we are, and one of the things that you'll notice here is we actually have two different debit cards, a personal and a business. And we did this very purposefully because many freelancers tend to mix the two. We want to give them both the tools and the knowledge and the understanding to separate church and state and really operate a business and grow. You'll also notice that we have 0 fees. So these nickel and diming fees that a lot of the banking partners have done over the last decade that amount to billions of dollars, we just don't believe in them. So no monthly fees, no overdraft fees, no fees at banking ATMs of over 55,000 locations across the US. So how do we do this, you might ask? Well, in order to understand that, you have to understand a little bit more about traditional banking. So traditional banking uses a few different metrics. The two probably most important are the FICO score and the W-2. Well, as a freelancer, you don't have that W-2, and this is where it breaks down. At Oxygen, we do things a little bit differently. You simply download the application. In less than a minute, your account is ready. At that point, we ask you to link your current bank account so that we can begin to create a profile for you. So that, in conjunction with the spending on the card and your earnings coming into the account, we can make better credit decisions for you and, importantly, offer that line of credit. So I assure you it's not that easy. There's some data science and machine learning that goes behind that, but I don't want to get into that today because A, we don't have enough time, and B, it's kind of the secret sauce of what we're doing. But I do want to introduce you to the leadership team. I introduced myself, and as well as Hussein, who's the founder and CEO. Diane Clapp is our Chief Risk Officer. She comes to us after heading risk for Citibanamex and LATAM and GE Capital before that. Jonathan Consalvo heads up our compliance office. He spent a number of years consulting in the banking industry with Trellient Risk Advisors. And then last but not least, Mike Garris heads up our operations, and he comes to us from companies like Bank of America and Prosper before that. So we've talked a little bit about the opportunity here and the shifting, more importantly, of the workforce and what we're trying to do. But the most important thing, I think, to answer is why. And the answer to that, very simply, is our customers. We think that they're pretty extraordinary, and with the right financial services partner, they can achieve what they want to do. But don't take it just from me. Let's take a look at some of their stories, and I think you'll understand why we do what we do.
Being a freelancer, it's the core of what my life is about.
The best part of being a freelancer is the flexibility.
Not having to ask for permission, it represents freedom to me.
Be my own boss, run my life, and do my fine artwork. The freelance work that I do mostly is production design, art direction for film.
I'm a driver for a ride-sharing app while I'm studying for my board exams.
I am a freelance copywriter.
I think the hardest part of being a freelancer is how unpredictable your finances can be.
When are you getting your next check? You don't know.
And then really without warning, clients can just go poof.
And then it's when that anxiety and doubt comes to you that maybe I can't do this.
Hello! Surprise! We wanted to tell you how much we love you and appreciate everything that you do for us.
You have my back, and I always got your back.
Quiero que sepas que estoy orgulloso especialmente de ti.
You're a superstar. You have our back, papi.
He's the one I go to. He's my first call.
This is the first time I've heard him say that he loves me.
I know what my strengths are, and I know that not everybody can do what I do.
I am who I am, and I'm doing what I'm doing because I believe in myself.
So we'll be launching very soon. Thank you very much for your time today. If you are interested in getting in touch, we have a booth back here, and look forward to meeting some of you. Take care.